motivated to really go forward. That was very helpful.
Thank you. Let me answer that. One thing about it is you don't know what you don't know. I've also lost about 30 pounds. And because you really don't know what you don't know. And I think things that I thought were healthy by eating, I realized they were not. So we also have, a part of menopause is weight. So we have a significant weight loss program because that's a large part of menopause. And I think the aha moment I have with a lot of ladies is like, wow, I didn't know that. So once you do a few little tweaks, sometimes just a few tweaks in your world, the weight just falls off and continues off. Like for example, just like your mom, we're all the same generation, you sit down and you don't get off the table until you finish the plate. One of the first things we tell our ladies, now you never ever clean your plate. You toss something or you have to take it home because you think about how amazing it's going to be the next day. Because with the amount of food on these plates, just when you go out and eat, we're age food. I can go dinner is 4 minutes. So you eat a little bit, pack it up and take it down. But if you don't do anything else, two things. You weigh yourself once a week. I wouldn't go to the doctor because they would weigh me, okay? I just freaked out with the numbers. Thursday morning, I get up, I get on the scale, look at the number like data. Do I like it? Do I need to improve it? And of course, this week it's great, and then I deal with it. So that way it never creeps up on you again. So if you two things, if you just weigh yourself once a week, and if you start eating half of the amount of food you were eating, a lot of your weight's gonna fall off.
Thank you for that. All right, so our next speaker, Ms. Dr. Shannon Chavez. She is a licensed psychologist and a certified sex therapist. Now, we really want to talk about some sex here. Now, Dr. Shannon Chavez is a licensed psychologist and certified sex therapist with over 2 decades of experience supporting individuals and couples in cultivating healthy, connect, and satisfying relationships. Her clinical work focuses on intimacy and desire, and the integration of mental and sexual health. She draws from a holistic framework that combines somatic therapy, all right, attachment, I'm okay, therapy, and sex education to address the emotional and the psychological aspect of sexuality. Her approach is grounded, compassionate, and designed to help clients move beyond shame and into clarity, confidence, and connection. Dr. Chavez maintains a private practice in Beverly Hills and consults internationally. Her work has been featured in the outlets including GQ, that's the New York Times, Cosmetology, Oprah Daily, and Goops. Is that right? Goops. She also advertised wellness brand and organization helping shape inclusive research, informed conversations around sex and relationship. Dr. Chavez.
Thank you. I still have to pinch myself thinking that I get to talk about sex every day. It's not always the fun parts though. I cover in my practice all sexual concerns because we're all going to deal with them no matter what age we are, whether we're partnered or not. So I wanted to tell you how one becomes a sex therapist. For a shy Latina, former Catholic girl, I was always interested in sex. My parents had this book on their nightstand called The Joy of Sex, so I would sneak it and just look through, and I was fascinated. I thought, how could something that brings you joy be shameful? Because I realized when I asked questions about sex, people got embarrassed. My mother would make the sign of the cross. My grandmother would say, "You're a sex worker?" No, nothing wrong with sex work. It's a little different. But in my culture, it was so taboo. Therapy was taboo, but also talking about sex was taboo. So I thought, this is my mission from God. I'm going to talk about sex and help people feel comfortable talking about sex. And that's what I do in my practice. I love that work. A lot of sex therapy is education. Many of us didn't get great education, myself included. Every day I'm still learning about sex. I just got back from a sex wellness expo of all toys and devices, and I learned so much. I'm full of joy of all the things that are out there for us. But in my work, common concerns that we see that we probably all have are things like low desire, low libido. Sometimes we don't even know what that means. I have low libido, I just don't have any desire or interest in sex. And often I find many of my clients don't even know how to define sex. I'll say, well, what's sex? What's great sex? And they'll say, I was hoping you could tell me. That's what I'm here for. But of course that's different for all of us. Sex to me is our experience of pleasure, connection, and presence. And in this day and age, I find that we're really missing that. We're stressed, we're overwhelmed, we're looking for time, and sex is about kind of becoming embodied again. Playfulness. Especially in adulthood, I find that many of us are not playing. Whether it's music and dancing, I heard some of us talking about, or just finding time to be in our bodies. Much of the work that I do is helping especially women get back into their bodies. Some of the work that I do includes vulva workshops, where we all drop our pants and get a mirror and we talk about our anatomy. Why this is so important for our sexual wellness is many of us in our backgrounds, we didn't learn to look at our bodies, to touch our bodies, or to even know our parts. Even my mother said, after I had my children, I still couldn't tell you about my reproductive cycle or menopause or any of these things. I'm actually teaching her. And now she's so comfortable, by the way, that she's calling me for vibrators and lube samples. She knows what a clitoris is, which, by the way, is what I wear around my neck here, just to let everyone know this is our main organ of pleasure. But I love educating about sex because I find that it empowers us, especially as women. I think there's so many mixed messages around sex. It's very performative, goals, expectations, it tends to feel like work, so it shuts us down. And our libido is not just sexual energy. I think of it as life force energy. And when we tap into our libido, we tap into creativity and passion and so much more. I've been in perimenopause now for 5 years. I hope I'm almost done, doctors. But I've learned a lot about myself through this journey. I think, as a clinician, you are treating people every day and giving the advice, but when you're going through it yourself, applying that is a whole different story. But what I've learned is that our sexuality is not just what we're doing, and it's not about just having more sex. It's about learning to find that identity within yourself. What lights you up? What turns you on? And that's not just sexual. Sometimes it's a great song. I was listening to Prince on the way over here, and that is one of my biggest libido boosters. Things that kind of excite you and getting in our bodies and movement. So much of the work that I do, as well as helping people to, as you said, permission to be sexual. It's also okay to not be sexual. Not all of us are going to have a high desire. It's all over the place. And it's not just medical, it's not just hormonal, it's really a holistic approach. That's why I've adapted that framework in my work. I've met so many women and men and couples that have been shuffled back and forth. I've been to this doctor and this specialist, and now they told me to go to sex therapy, and I just feel their defeatedness. And so I want to empower people to feel that it's an integrated approach. We have to find our community that we trust. We have to go to different doctors. Even being well connected in the community of sexual wellness, it took me 5 clinicians to finally find someone that was willing to provide hormone therapy or to listen to my concerns and not just say, try an antidepressant. So it's so important that we advocate for our health, especially our sexual wellness. And pleasure can start with not knowing. That's where many of my clients come into my practice. I don't know what I like. Please don't make me watch porn. What are we going to do here? They're overwhelmed. We just start with that foundation. Let's start there. Not knowing is a good place to start. And before I go into sex history and all the things that make us nervous in a therapy office, I like to just find out about you. What do you do on a daily? How do you have fun? What shows are you watching on Netflix? These types of questions really get me into how you like to be creative, how you entertain yourself, how you spend your time. And I look for things like energy drainers. Libido has a lot to do with where we're putting our energy out, and we're not feeling as replenished. We're not bringing that back in, especially as women. Many of us are at the stage of our life where we're caretaking, we're raising children, we're raising husbands or wives, anything, and we are overwhelmed. So taking time for ourselves is so valuable. I find that a lot in my therapy office. Sometimes that's the only time that my clients have to truly be focused on themselves. And that's such a sacred space. It's judgment-free, it's shame-free, and that's so important. I feel so honored to be able to create and to collaborate in that space with my clients. And we have fun. I thought I'd show you some of the tools that we use in the office just to make that journey a little less intimidating. Many of us don't know about our bodies. Even when I was going through graduate school and specializing in this field, we weren't talking about female pleasure very much. It was basically male sexual health light. We were considered complicated, or we were hearing things like the elusive female orgasm. There's so many myths out there that we feel more shut down around even wanting to approach the idea of improving or increasing desire. The media doesn't always help as well. We see on every magazine cover, website, reigniting passion and all of these things, 5 tips for better orgasms, and it feels like work. It feels like we have to overcome all these obstacles just to feel good. So some of the things that I like to start with are very simple. Embodiment exercises, learning to touch yourself in ways that feel pleasurable. Sometimes we need healing touch. It's not even sexual. There's a whole continuum of touch that we have to learn. Some of us learn very extreme forms of touch, right? We might have learned affection or sexual touch, but nothing in between. A lot of what I teach my clients is sensuality. How can we activate our senses to regulate our nervous system, to feel less stress, and to start noticing what lights us up? Some things I'll use are a feather, something really light. Have any of you ever feathered your vulva? I highly recommend it. You don't know what a vulva is? This is a vulva, by the way. We can leaned out. Pretty, yes. But learning our anatomy is so important because us females can have anywhere from 15 to 20 different orgasm types. You might have heard of 1 or 2 or 3 of them. I love your facial expression. That was mine too when I first heard that.